testing. Oh, they're not up there yet. You're going to do the game show live.
0 to 1,000.
Yeah, it would be negative.
I was going to say, I think it'd be the low
An absolute scale.
testing. Why is my cup vibrating? Maybe, oh, it's because I was talking into it.
It's an immersive experience.
Yeah.
If your mic doesn't work, which it probably doesn't, just
Okay, well,
give it back to Diana.
testing. Chalice. A chalice lighting for Ingathering. The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of our connection. The flame lights our way back together again from our separate summer lives, and it lights the way forward into this new congregational year of promise and renewal.
My name is Diana Ducey-Ludwig, and I'm a member of our Board of Trustees here at River Road. Each month, we open on the first Sunday to introduce our theme for the month, and this month's theme is welcome. And I will be presenting a reading that I wrote. Welcome, welcome, welcome is the embrace of a dear friend, of crossing the threshold out of the cold and into the warmth, of feeling enveloped in calm after a harrowing journey. Welcome is a hello, a beginning, a let's pick up where we left off. Welcome is a display of hope, of kindness, of possibility. Welcome is a declaration of belonging, of oneness, of the sum being greater than its parts. Welcome is a radical act of acknowledgement. Welcome means, I see you. Welcome offers, you may lay down your weapons, your armor. You are safe here. Welcome proclaims, you are not alone. Welcome encourages a shift from me to we. Welcome announces, you are home.
Thank you, Diana. And if you all don't feel welcomed after that, I don't know how you could. In this place where we lay down our weapons, put away our armor, invite ourselves to belong. In this place where every word of greeting is an implied commitment that there is something beautiful yet to unfold among us. This place where every single person contributes our part in service to a larger whole, a community that enriches us so that we can in turn go out of these doors and enrich the world of which we are a part. Today's service features our annual water ceremony, which we're all beautifully set up for today. In this ceremony, familiar to some and new to many others, we mark our interconnection at the beginning of a new congregational year, a new school year, all that the turning of the seasons might bring, with the mingling of precious drops of water. We do so this year, knowing fully that this is a time both near to home and around this whole world, riven by the combination of drought and flood, by the ever-swinging tides of time and history and change and danger and hope. We know that the water that finds a way to run and appears through the cracks of the parched earth nourishes still those worried if they will make it another day, knowing that so much of our shared future will depend on a mutual sharing and attending of all of these waters that once intermingled cannot be pulled apart. This morning we symbolically gather the waters of the world, the waters of our lives, so that in coming together we can renew our spirits and remind ourselves that we are indeed not alone. If you brought water from your house, water from your travels, epic or mundane as they may have been this summer, water from the water fountain down the hall or the beach or the flood that filled your basement 3 weeks ago, we will welcome you later in the service to commingle those waters with those of members of your community. And don't worry, if you didn't bring water, we've got you covered too. There is plenty. And the symbol is no less potent if it comes from one of the pitchers on this here table than from your own travels or memories. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day, it runs through the whole world and it dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of this earth in numberless blades of grass. It is the same life rocked by the ocean. The same stream of life runs in every river and lake, in every place we may go. The same stream of life runs in me, in you, runs through our gathered community, and so let's begin it truly by rising as we are able, along with the choir. The choir is back at long last from their summer break for our opening hymn, Gather the Spirit. Choir, I know you only just sat down, but come back up and lead us through it. The lyrics will be right here on the back wall. want to tell you a story, a Sufi story, that hits altogether too close to home for me in many ways in this season. It's a story about a stream flowing through a desert, a stream that is intent on becoming something new but is not entirely certain about what it means or whether it is willing to change. Have you ever known that yearning? That there's something waiting to be born, that there's some future to reach out for, but good God, the work and the risk to get there. There is a stream flowing from its source in the far-off mountains, passing through every kind of description of countryside, reaching at long last the desert. Now, just as it had crossed every other barrier it had ever known, this stream was certain. It was confident that such a desert, such a long, long expanse of sand would pose no more problem than the countrysides and the wooded mountains it had gone over before. Surely, the stream thought, if I just push harder, if I just flow faster, if I just work more, surely it was convinced its destiny would be to cross that desert alone. Now then a hidden voice came, rising up from the desert itself, that place of challenge and transformation. The voice whispered to the stream, the wind crosses the desert, and so can a stream. The stream objected. After all, it was dashing itself against the sand only to be absorbed time and time again. It objected to this voice, saying the wind can fly. And when you can fly, surely you can cross a desert. Said the desert, by hurling yourself in your own accustomed way, you will never get across. You will either disappear or become a marsh or a quagmire. You must allow the wind to carry you. But how can this happen? Said the stream. By allowing yourself to be absorbed by the wind. Now, this idea was utterly unacceptable to the stream. After all, it had never been absorbed before, and it had crossed a great many different kinds of terrain. Had it not, it had always been up to the task on its own. It didn't want to lose its individuality, its identity, its own selfhood. And once having lost it, the stream wondered, how was one to know if it could ever be regained? The wind, whispered the sand, performs this wonder. It takes up the water, it carries it over the desert, it lets it fall again as rain. The water again becomes a river. But how can I know for sure this is true? Asked the nervous stream. It is so. And if you do not believe it, you cannot become more than a quagmire. And even then, it could take many, many years. And a quagmire stuck in the middle of a desert with nowhere to go is not the same as a stream. But can I not remain exactly the stream I am today? It asked. Can I not remain exactly as strong and as frightened as I am? Your essential part is carried away. It forms a stream again. Some things change, but the essential part remains the same. If only you will trust enough to let go. Now, when he heard this, certain echoes began to arise in the long hidden thoughts of the stream. Dimly he remembered a state of being in which he or some part of him had been held in the arms of the wind before. He also remembered, or did he, that this was the real thing, though not the obvious thing to do. And the stream, still nervous but newly willing, raised its vapor to the welcoming arms of the wind, which gently and easily bore it upward and along, letting it fall softly as soon as they reached the roof of a mountain many, many miles away.
Yet again we gather. We gather in this ever-evolving, ever-changing space of transformation and growth. We bring our burdens, our joys, our complexities, and our openness. We come to celebrate a new year together and to honor the old ways together. This morning, as we mingle our water, may we also mingle our hearts and our minds. May we be co-creators and keepers of our shared faith. Our prayer this morning comes from Eric Cherry, a prayer for ingathering. I invite you to still yourselves, steady your hearts and minds, perhaps closing your eyes, lowering your gaze, and coming fully present into this moment. Guided by love, secured by hope, and made courageous by faith, we gather together at a moment of beginning, both learning and teaching, welcoming the injured and the healing. Ever justice seeking, we bless this place with our love. With pilgrims and seekers, growing children and cherished elders, guided by pillars and by leaders, we bless this place with our hope. Praying and resolving, trusting and involving, some settled, some evolving, we bless this place with our faith. Let us receive our ingathering as a gift, a sacred and special gift. May it inspire renewed commitment to our great covenant of love, of hope, and of faith. May our eyes be opened to the opportunities for broad ministry within, throughout, and beyond. And may the blessings we come to know through that vision be a blessing to this world. Amen.
In our water communion ceremony, we mingle these drops as a symbol of what it is to be in community, connected and never fully apart. But perhaps I think we also mingle waters because we so deeply want to be a part of something powerful. A force capable of carving canyons out of rock, possibility from impossibility, not just through the mighty cataclysms of flood and of drought, but one single small drop at a time combined a billionfold into a power greater than any one of us can hold alone.
Let there be some healing in this ritual today. The knowledge that we don't always have to fight our way through life, but to submit to the unyielding strength of the current that moves within us and beyond us. In the words of Tyler Knott Gregson, I think I am water, and I think I have always been. I go my own way and somehow, without knowing how, find my way through the cracks and crevices, the grooves and the holds in the rocks that form around these fragile hearts of ours. For all the rocks formed around our own fragile hearts, for the gentle and persistent waters that wear down and carry them away, for another year full of hope and possibility, we are grateful.
Every year, on a shelf in my office, this jar sits. The commingled waters of some 40 years of River Road water communions. Every year it sits waiting for this day, when we come back together again to mingle these waters not only with one another, but with our history as a community and as a congregation. We'll invite you now, as the music plays, to come forward to mingle the waters of your lives, those you have brought with you, those we have provided for you. Come up the middle aisle if you can, and if possible, make your way back the sides. It is what light chaos control we can offer one another while knowing surely we will bump into each other along the way. It's part of the drill to make space. We make a way forward together, knowing that we retain our own individual hopes and dreams and yearn for an interconnected future. Please join us in this time of commingling and commitment. I literally just said to Reverend Amanda, "Your liturgical materials, my dear," because that's the kind of weirdo I am. Carry on.
What gifts we bring, what journeys we've had, what hopes have carried us to this moment. The water is a symbol, not just of where we've been, but of what we bring, what holds up the strength beyond our small selves, from the oceans of the world, from the rivers of the world, from the lakes of the world. CrossFit.
I do CrossFit, I can't even open this jar. It's fine. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Amanda, try it. From the springs and the streams. Whose waters renew the lakes. I don't even want to do this gendered issue, but go give that to Cliff. It's just, do you know how mad it's going to make us both if Cliff opens that immediately? We're just... It's fine. It's fine. Listen. All right. We're going to pass it to every staff member. And, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe we'll commingle the symbolic waters until I go and get some jar opener. It's fine. Anyway, from the tears and the joy, from the waters of our lives. Oh, my God. See? It takes a village. I'm just saying. Okay, there we go. Whew. I think I loosened it. For the tremendous blessing we have just demonstrated of making our way through life together. We are so deeply, deeply grateful.
I am very excited to see so many children and youth here today. Might have set a record, post-pandemic record. Yeah, yay. My first invitation to you is for everyone to stay seated until I say the words, "Go forth." We have a lot of new people here today, which is fantastic, and I want them to be able to hear the instructions. My next invitation is for the parents of anyone in 5th grade and younger. We ask that you, after the worship service, please go downstairs over here to meet your children. All right, and now the room assignments. If you are in elementary school, 5th grade or lower, you're going to go out those doors and down the stairs, walking nicely. If you are here for OWL class, you're probably in 8th or 9th grade, you're going to go out these back doors and up the stairs, and the room is right there. Your teachers will greet you. If you're in middle or high school, you're going to go out these doors here, across the bridge, and down the stairs. And I hope this is the beginning of a fabulous new year and building some fabulous new relationships. Go forth.
Well, our mic pack stopped working right before the service, and the pulpit mic stopped working before the service, and the jar wouldn't open. And I said, "Nancy, what's next? Is my skirt going to catch on fire today?" Water communion is one of my favorite services of the year. Water commune is one of my favorite rituals of the year because it speaks to the journeys that we have taken and what we create together and what this community means to each of us, whether we're new, whether we've been here for many years, whether we're just starting our journey in Unitarian Universalists or still figuring it out. Our water mingles together all the same. It's a testament to what we create in this space. It's a testament to our values and our principles that we hold to as Unitarian Universalists. And it's a tradition that you can find UUs doing across this country and even internationally. Each time we enter into community together, we are co-creators of this community. What we do here in beloved community is made possible through our shared generosity, which is a part of who we are at River Road. When we give to our neighbors, we practice this generosity. When we give to one another, we practice this generosity. And when we give to this space, this place, this community that holds us all, we are indeed practicing generosity. During this time of offering, you're invited to give from that space of generosity as you're willing and able, as feels right to you. As the music plays, we know there's so many ways to give at River Road. You can give here in person this morning in the box or as the ushers come by. You can give online on our website at our Give Now button you can click. And of course, you can text to give. The number is 732-856, I think. 73256. We should all know it by heart by now. Should. So please give as you're willing and able, whether you're giving now or whether you're giving later. Give from your heart. And in this community that we create together, this community that will outlast each and every one of us, this community that has been here before many of us. As the music plays, please give from that space in your heart.
Running on the water, coming to the edge, 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 running on the water.
Dreamers make the nation come.
In this year of blockbuster concerts everywhere, a friend of mine found herself amid a crowd of 15,000 people bedecked in glitter one evening last spring, lost in that heady mixture of music and collective joy that sometimes a concert brings. Somewhere in the middle of the proceedings, the artist, there in front of all those people under all the bright lights, stopped the music, as artists sometimes do, to interact with the fans. That evening, in the middle of it all, the musician happened to speak into the crowd words of welcome to one guest in particular, shining that beam of celebrity and welcome right onto that one person in the crowd in words of a direct address. "What's your name?" The beaming, bright, bedazzled celebrity asked. "What is your name?" To which the fan answered so quietly the star could barely hear. "Juno," said the fan tentatively. "Juno?" said the big, bright, bold celebrity. "Yes, Juno. My name is Juno. It's new." "It's new?" shouted one of the most famous people in the world. "You're the very first one I've told," said Juno. "The first one to know. The first one to hear the name of their own soul. You're the very first one I've told." To which the artist responded in the only possible way a loving soul ever could. "Welcome, Juno," she screamed, speaking that name out into the world for the very first time, and 15,000 people applauded in glorious unison. "Welcome, Juno." My friend, who happened to be there in the midst of the crowd, she said she wept for the simple beauty of it all, for the honor of witnessing such a thing, for a new name spoken out loud at first with such tentative caution and then with such uproarious joy, a welcome expressed in the broadest possible terms, a claiming of emerging identity by massive group affirmation. The statement, through the age-old liturgies of collective joy and celebrity, that this single person, this single transforming soul, this newly and blessedly Juno there in the world was truly welcome in that place and perhaps wherever their feet might take them from that moment. What was offered in that time of collective joy was not just, I think, a wider welcome, like more people welcoming more people. What was offered was a deeper welcoming who you are and who you're becoming, and by some implicit agreement, welcoming who you might yet become in the course of time. Your life, your theology, your identity, the sorrows and wonders around you change, and thus that welcome implied and given was a welcome not just to the soul in front of you, but to every kind of life that soul might yet lead. That was the welcome I was looking for when I came to Unitarian Universalism. A congregation that would not just welcome me as I was, but would make space for me as I inevitably changed. A community whose singular purpose was to extend a love that would not let me go, would not let me down, and would not let me off the hook, even if it turned out that I would believe something entirely different 5 years in the future. Congregations have gotten confused a great many times about why it is they exist, the reason the people are gathered in community in the first place, which for my money has always been this: to exhibit a love that indeed will not let you go. A love that will connect you to your deeper spiritual commitments even as those commitments change. You remember, perhaps, that classic wedding reading from 1 Corinthians, which so many people have heard so many times they don't even hear the words anymore. That classic wedding reading from 1 Corinthians that goes, if I can speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels but have not love, etc., etc. I think that text, so often brushed over and overlooked, is in fact evidence of the ways in which church people have gotten confused about why we exist. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I'm a resounding gong, a clanging cymbal. If I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. Say those words so often repeated. That letter from the Apostle Paul to the early Christian community in Corinth, it wasn't about weddings. It wasn't even about the kind of love that two people can experience individually together with and for one another as the foundation of the lasting relationship. It was not about any of that. It was about a confused church that did not understand why it existed. It was not a romantic love at all Paul was speaking of. It was about a community and the ways in which a community can get confused about its purpose, imagining age after age that the people are gathered for anything other than a lived expression of love. In Corinth, as in any other place, the confusion about the purpose of people gathering was rampant. Too many thought that being in community was a kind of contest to determine who had more faith, or who was better at leading the Sunday service, or, I don't know, who could open the jars. Who made the best decisions in the best way and ran the board meeting the most clearly? The early Christians in the Corinthian congregation were literally shouting their prayers like clanging cymbals over top of one another to try to prove who was better at praying. They were making faith into a contest. And whether he was saintly or not, Paul was having none of it. Because the church, or in our case, the congregation, does not exist so that any of us can outdo one another at stuff. It doesn't even exist to do stuff at all, but to exhibit a welcome. And in time, a welcome that resolves itself into love. A love that dives so deeply into our being that we know when we leave this place, we are beloved upon this earth. That is the whole ball of wax. Not great programs or the self-perpetuation of the organization, not even microphones that work, but a place for folks to exhibit a deeper love than they could ever know alone. A love for each other, a love for this world, a love for the holy as we understand it, or might yet come to understand it in our long, confusing journeys over whatever desert we may feel we are throwing ourselves against. It is love, people, a welcoming, widening, sometimes demanding sort of love that happens when we choose to ask big questions together instead of alone. And this ceremony we practice every year. This little ritual of mingling water together. Water sometimes from as far afield as we ever dared to travel, sometimes from the rains that nourished our fear or fearfully flooded our days, usually from the tap that opens to bring what is necessary to life into our cups and our bowls, exactly because people like us have worked together for so long to make a water system that could in fact nourish us all. This little ritual of mingling the waters is how we begin almost every congregational year and have done so for literally decades. On one level, it seems so simple. We mingle this water together as a symbol of our interconnection and perhaps a symbol of a yearned for interconnection that we have not yet found in this fractured world. It's a symbol that you can't take any one of us apart and alone and expect us to be able to cross the desert. It's a symbol that together, all of it, our experiences, our labor, our loneliness, our hope, all of it is enough to dig down and nourish the roots of a plant or a soul, sustain the bonds of a community, remind us that such bonds are what our lives outside of these doors are made of. I remember what it felt like
to be welcomed for the very first time in a congregation in some ways not so different from our own. My first Unitarian Universalist congregation was a lot smaller and a lot more sleepy than this place. I remember the lady at the door. Her name was Dorothy. I remember how she greeted me a little too excitedly, so overwhelmingly happy that someone under 70 had just showed up on Sunday morning. I remember the group of oddballs who seemed to be wearing too many scarves who took me to lunch after the service. I remember, though it was over a quarter century ago, thinking these people are strange and kind, and I hope they mean what they say. They say that I am welcome here not only as I am, but as I will be, because I was, as are we all. When I first was welcomed to a place like this, I was like you are, like I am still, in the middle of becoming something new. Welcome, Nancy, those oddballs seem to say. You are welcome as you are, and whoever you are becoming, I say to you today, you'll be welcome then too. It wasn't 15,000 people in a stadium with an international music star dazzling in front of us all. Instead, a welcome comes with maybe 150 or so really lovely Unitarian Universalists who want to live our lives in some fundamental way, intertwined with each other instead of alone. It seems so simple, this ritual, this mingling of waters, this entire idea of being a congregation. It seems so simple, and yet it is radical, and it is never more important than now, in this lonely and disconnected world that I feel, that you feel, that the people we love outside these doors struggle with every moment. Welcome, you, and you, and you. Welcome, you. Welcome for who you are and who you're going to be. Welcome to this place that exists to give evidence to your belovedness. Welcome, all the parts of you that are still forming and still confusing, all the bits of your identity that are new or raw or vulnerable or emerging. Welcome. We are in this together. Amen and amen. We start this end of the service time with thank yous. I want to thank Amanda for hitting that jar with a rock. I want to thank the choir. Choir, what a gift. Thank you. Thank you. Can we... We don't realize how much of an important part of our spiritual life it is until we haven't heard them in a while. What a gift. Thank you, Cliff. And of course, our whole tech team, Ajay, Danny, Jeff, everybody. We didn't have a formal time of joys and sorrows today, but before I wrap it up and leave this morning, I'm going to light one candle for the Reverend Robert Lewis, who was our minister here at River Road from 1961 to 1968. He was, in fact, the first minister here in this place. Bob died on September 6th. We'll have a memorial service for him here. On the day Bob died, he was still talking about how meaningful it was for him to be on the committee that designed this building. So as we sit in this space, we think of all those who helped create it so that we could goofily and lovingly commingle the waters and offer welcome to one another. There are so many ways to connect here in the life of the congregation. I just want to highlight a few, including and especially the most important one, which is that our religious education classes with children and youth did in fact kick off for the year today. We have over 20 new kids registered in the program on top of last year. That is no joke. That is spectacular. And we need like 10 more volunteers to help sustain those classrooms and to help create an environment in which every single one of those kids over the whole span of their lives and their growing can be nurtured and affirmed. I want to give a shout out especially to people who don't have kids. It is life affirming to hang out with these young people, and so you can contact Beth or Laura, our religious educators, to sign up. Everybody welcome. We need you. What a spectacular gift. Also, important programs are coming up that express our love in the world. On September 30th in the evening, our College Access fundraiser is coming back. I see you, Rita. It will be a hybrid. We're going to be online. We're going to be in person. We're going to do the whole thing. We have the amazing musical gifts, again, of Daryl Davis and Seth Keibel, who will be with us by popular demand. There'll be a table in the fellowship hall, or at least information, and you can find out more. Register. It'll be an incredible gift. There's also a bazaar table in the fellowship hall, and you are going to hear a whole lot more about the bazaar in the coming couple of months, because the bazaar is coming back at its traditional time the first weekend in November. It's an all hands on deck kind of situation, and you too can help with our largest fundraiser, and as the team would remind me, fundraiser, because we have a lot of fun. Am I right? Yeah. I'm going to say fundraiser every Sunday until you guys laugh. It's going to happen. Also on September 30th, on the day before our evening College Access fundraiser, River Road is hosting Unstoppable Stories, DC's own Banned Books Festival. We are in an unprecedented time of repression and control over ideas in schools and beyond, and we want to invite you to come and have a great time here that day and at our partner congregation, the UU Church of Fairfax, the next day, October 1st. Jamie Raskin has just announced on his public calendar that he will be our keynote speaker that afternoon. So sign up. And we are about to put out a whole long spreadsheet I helped make this week of volunteer opportunities, so you too can help at the Banned Books Festival. We're going to have a drag queen story hour. We're going to have just amazing family fun that day. Also, on Sunday, September 17th, I'm working my way back in the calendar, we'll be screening the film Birthing Justice. Ebony Marcel, the director of midwifery at Community of Hope in DC, will be moderating a panel discussion about reproductive choice and faith communities and how we can represent values and hold diversity in these times. We hope you'll join us. Finally, our membership book signing happens today after the service. If you are feeling called to be a part of this strange and marvelous band of travelers, I want to invite you to join Reverend Amanda and I right over there at the side of the chancel after the service. It would be a great gift to move alongside you on your own faith journey. Truly, as we prepare to take this light we have kindled out into the waiting world, we go with so many blessings and so many burdens. May you, in your life and in your work, be lifted up. And may the truth that makes us free, the love that casts out fear, and the hope that never dies guide us and those we love and those we do not love forward together till the day spring breaks and all the shadows flee away. Amen.